CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I found a dark web transmission marked Antarctica, do not open. The footage showed a man standing completely still in minus 70 degrees Celsius and smiling. You ever open something you wish you didn't? Okay, so let me start this by saying, I know how it sounds. This isn't some ORG. This isn't for clout. I'm not trying to blow up on TikTok or YouTube or Reddit or anything. I'm literally writing this because I can't sleep anymore. I'm hoping that by getting it out there, maybe someone knows what I saw, or maybe someone saw it too. If that's you, please, I'm begging you to message me. Anyway, here's what happened. So I'm 22, still living in my first apartment alone. Well, now technically not alone, but I'll get to that. Working a basic IT job out of Denver. Nothing crazy. I game, chill, hit up Starbucks way too much, and doom scroll on Reddit like every other zombie online. A few weeks ago, I got into this Discord server that's basically just a rabbit hole hub for internet weirdness. You know, backrooms, ORGs, unlisted YouTube stuff, the usual haunted web lore. Mostly fake, mostly dumb, but fun. Then one night, some guy in the server, name was just Void Glass, drops this onion link. No message, just the link and the tag. For those of you who like the deepest parts of the rabbit hole. Now I've been on the dark web before. Yeah, edgy, whatever. I wasn't trying to buy organs or hitmen, usually just poking around for old unreleased footage of indie horror stuff or weird archives. But this one felt wrong before I even clicked it. I had to run it through Tor, obviously. It was a single page site. No banner, no text, just a black screen with a red box in the middle. Inside the box, it said, Antarctica, do not open. Last transmission received, March 4th, 2023. Temperature, minus 70 degrees Celsius. Status, alive. No lie, my stomach twisted when I read that last part. Alive. What does that even mean? So of course I opened it, like an idiot. The video wasn't long, maybe 45 seconds. It was grainy, low res, like CCTV footage from the 90s. Looked like it was shot through thick glass, maybe a security cam inside some kind of facility. Snow howling outside, alarms blinking red, but no sound, just silence. And then, there he was, a man, standing perfectly still in the middle of what looked like a snow-covered corridor. No coat, no gloves, just a hospital gown, feet bare, and he was smiling, like grinning, top teeth showing, eyes wide open, straight at the camera. And get this, on the bottom of the screen, the text kept glitching between coordinates and this repeating line in red. He sees through the ice. He sees through the ice. He sees through the ice. I was already sweating and reaching for the escape key when the dude moved. Not walked, twitched. His head snapped to the side like a puppet yanked by strings. His smile stayed frozen, and his body started shaking in these sharp, tiny bursts like he was trying not to move, but couldn't help it. Then the feed cut out. The page went black, and my entire screen filled with one single sentence in plain white text. Now he sees you too. I slammed my laptop shut, heart in my throat, like that full-body cold sweat kind of fear. I even unplugged the damn router and just sat there in silence. The thing is, I thought that was it. Like, okay, creepy dark web video. Probably some ultra niche horror project or something. The kind of stuff that shows up in an Expo or Wendigoon video in a few years. But then the weird stuff started happening. It started small, lights flickering, my phone screen lighting up randomly at night with static for a second, then going dark again. At first, I chalked it up to overthinking, power surge, glitchy app, paranoia. Then, last Thursday, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. All the lights in my apartment were on, bright white, every single one, even the inside of the fridge, which I hadn't opened. And my laptop? It was sitting open on my desk. The screen was black, except for one image. The man, still smiling. Now, I never left that tab open. I nuked that session, closed Tor, wiped my browser. The laptop was off when I went to sleep. It wasn't even plugged in. I reached over to shut it, but when I got closer, I saw something new. There was frost forming around the corners of the screen. Actual frost. Like my fingers got cold touching it. And just beneath the image, in glitchy red letters, he's closer now. Okay, I know this is a lot. I know how Reddit is. People are gonna call me a troll, an ARG freak, whatever. I wish I was. I want this to be fake. But something followed me back from that video. And every night since then, I swear I can hear the wind. Like Antarctic wind. From outside my bedroom window. Except, I live on the 4th floor. I didn't go to work the next day. I couldn't. I stared at that frozen screen until the sun came up. My fingers were still numb, like something had leached the heat out of my body just being near it. I shut the laptop, unplugged it, and buried it in my closet under a pile of old clothes and shoes. That should have been the end of it, right? But you already know it wasn't, because you don't just walk away from something like this. It doesn't let you. That night, I crashed on my couch watching YouTube, trying to drown my brain in anything normal. Random story times, chill lo-fi beats, even old Mr. Beast videos just for noise. Anything that didn't involve frostbite or haunted webcams or unblinking smiles. I ended up falling asleep with the TV still playing, but I didn't stay asleep. At 3:17 a.m. again, I woke up gasping, like I'd been underwater, and everything was silent. Not just no noise, silent. I mean like the kind of silence where your eardrums start to hum. That's when I saw the footprints. Not dirty shoe prints, not mud. Bare feet, wet and icy. Right there on the hardwood floor, starting from the hallway. I followed them with my eyes. They didn't come from the front door. They came from inside, from the hallway that led to my bedroom. The same hallway I swore I didn't go near all night. They trailed all the way to the couch, stopped right behind where my head had been, and melted. There wasn't a single sound, nothing, no dripping, no breathing, just that humming silence and the slow, cold realization that I wasn't alone in that apartment anymore. I moved out of that place the next day, didn't pack, didn't explain anything to my landlord, just booked an Airbnb in Boulder and left the key in the mailbox. I couldn't sleep there. I could barely think, but the thing is, I didn't feel safe at the Airbnb either, because the wind came with me. Every night since the video, it's followed me. The sound of howling, empty wind, like the inside of an abandoned glacier, and with it, that feeling. You know that feeling when someone's staring at you from from across a crowded room. That pressure on your skin. Multiply that by 10. Crank it until your bones ache. That's what it's like every night now, even in daylight. I thought maybe I was going crazy, like real commit me crazy. So I started documenting everything, wrote down the time the wind started, temperature of the room, sounds, power flickers, anything. And then, one night, I noticed something new. The mirror in the bathroom started fogging up every night, around 3:15 to 3:18. But here's the thing. I didn't use the bathroom. I didn't even shower or turn the sink on. There was no reason for the mirror to fog unless something was breathing in there. And worse, there was always a fingerprint in the center of the fog. One long, dragged down smear, like someone with wet, icy skin had traced their finger straight down the glass. I didn't open the door. I didn't want to know. I just grabbed my bag and left. Slept in my car that night. Okay, you still with me? I'm about to get into the part where people start thinking I should be locked up. But I swear on everything, I'm not making this up. Because 3 nights ago, I got a notification on my phone from Snapchat. I don't even use it anymore, but I still had the app installed. The message was from a username I'd never seen, Frozen Observer, and it just said, "Smile back." Attached was a snap, no caption, no filter. It was my bedroom, my old apartment, shot from the inside. I recognized the cracked wall, the posters I left, the navy blue comforter on the bed I never made, and in the center of the frame was me, or something that looked exactly like me, standing completely still, wearing only a thin hospital gown, bare feet, arms limp at the sides, and smiling, not like a friendly grin, not like someone happy to see you. I mean that unnatural, too wide, eyes too open kind of smile. The kind that doesn't move, doesn't fade, it just stays. The background of the snap was warped, like the air itself was freezing and bending. And right at the bottom of the screen, under the Bitmoji icons and chat bar, was a glitchy overlay text that wasn't even from Snapchat. He's inside the copy now. I don't think I'm the original me anymore. I started checking mirrors, filming myself, watching my own eyes on video to see if they blink the same. I swear I'm off. I swear my smile feels too stiff when I force it. It's like something is slowly pushing me out of my own body. Or maybe it already did, and I'm just the echo it left behind. 2 nights ago, I did something really stupid. I went back to the apartment. I don't even know why. I just had to see if it was still real. If the mirror, the footprints, the smell of ice and rust and blood was still there. I got there around midnight. Everything looked the same. Quiet, dead complex, dim lights. But as soon as I stepped inside, the door shut itself behind me, and it locked from the inside. There was frost on the doorknob, and the living room was different. Not in a big way, but in the way your gut knows something's off before your brain does. The couch cushions were newer. There were different shoes by the door, a coat I didn't own hanging on the hook, and then I heard it. The exact same footsteps I'd made coming in, but from the bedroom, perfectly mimicking mine, beat for beat, heel, toe, slow, careful, then silence, then a sound I'll never forget until the day I die, a deep, crackling inhale, like ice breaking from inside a throat that hadn't drawn breath in years. Then, smile for the cold, and from the corner of the hallway, he stepped out. I saw me, but not me. His skin was tight, too pale, lips split from the cold, eyes wide, bulging, red veins laced like spider cracks. His jaw looked unhinged, like the smile had been stretched onto his face. He didn't move like a person. He twitched, like a video buffering on broken internet. One frame here, then there. Too fast, then too slow. I ran, bolted toward the kitchen. I didn't even think. I just grabbed the closest thing, an old cast iron pan, and turned to swing. But he wasn't there. The hallway was empty again, until the TV turned on, static. Then the image from the dark web video. Except this time, he turned to look at me. Not the camera, not the fourth wall. At me. And in his mouth was a string of teeth that weren't human. They were too long, too smooth, like ice picks. And his voice came through the static, like broken glass. You are already frozen. I don't remember getting out. I woke up in the parking lot, hand bleeding from where I'd scraped the asphalt, pan still in my lap. I tried to report it. Cops went in, said it was empty. Nothing there. No frost, no footprints, no signs of forced entry. They looked at me like I was cracked out. One of them literally said, maybe lay off the horror movies for a bit. So here I am, writing this. And tonight, I checked the laptop I hid in the closet. The one I hadn't touched since the first night. The battery should have been dead. It wasn't plugged in, but it was on, and the screen was showing a live feed of my new Airbnb from inside the room, and the timestamp in the corner, 3:17 a.m. Tomorrow, I'll post part 3, if I'm still myself by then. If not, don't answer if someone knocks and doesn't blink, even if they're smiling, especially if they're you. You ever feel like something is growing inside your shadow, like it's stretching longer than it should, curling up the walls when you're not looking? That's how it's been since the night I saw him step into my apartment wearing my face. Every time I close my eyes now, I don't see black. I see frost, cracking, twisting, multiplying like veins across the surface of my vision. And behind that frost is always his face, still smiling, never blinking, never breathing, just waiting. And I think he's getting warmer. I didn't sleep. I haven't really slept in days, honestly. I just drift in and out, but I never fully go under. Something won't let me. You ever heard of exploding head syndrome? It's when your brain creates loud noises or violent images right before sleep, jolting you awake. That started happening, but it wasn't explosions for me. It was ice cracking, over and over. Sometimes just before I lose consciousness, I hear what sounds like bones snapping in the cold, like someone being folded and stuffed into a freezer. Sometimes it's my voice screaming for help. I checked out of the Airbnb, didn't ask for a refund. I left the key under the mattress with a note that just said, sorry. I didn't even bring my bag. The clothes, the chargers, the toiletries didn't matter. They'd started to smell like freezer burn anyway. I walked straight to the nearest 24-hour McDonald's and sat there for hours. I ordered a coffee just so they wouldn't kick me out. The guy behind the counter kept glancing at me like I was tweaking, and maybe I was. But here's the thing. When I looked at the menu board, the calorie numbers were replaced with temperatures. Big Mac, minus 37 degrees Celsius fries, minus 52 degrees Celsius. McFlurry, do not open. I blinked, and they were normal again, but my hands were shaking so hard, I spilled the coffee before even touching it. I went into the bathroom to splash water on my face, and that's when I saw it. My reflection had the smile, that same too wide frozen face, lips stretched to tearing, teeth perfectly straight, eyes dead but wide open like they were stapled in place. But I wasn't smiling. I wasn't. I backed away, but the reflection didn't. It stayed right there, forehead pressed to the glass like it wanted out. I ran. I didn't even know where I was going, just running through the streets of Boulder like a maniac, gripping my jacket closed as the air kept getting colder. The wind started picking up around 3 a.m. again, but this time it wasn't just sound. It was pulling me. Have you ever felt wind that doesn't blow past you, but into you? Like it's crawling into your lungs and curling around your spine. That's what it felt like. Every breath burned. My ribs started locking up. My skin went numb, and my teeth started to chatter without the cold even making sense anymore. I ducked into a Walgreens just before they locked up for the night. The lights were humming overhead, flickering slightly, like they were holding back something in the current. The cashier, a young dude, maybe 19, bored out of his mind, glanced at me and said, "Dude, you okay? You look like you just walked out of a morgue." I didn't answer. I just walked straight to the back, to the freezer aisle. I don't know why. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't thinking, but something pulled me there. And when I opened the third freezer door, just instinctively, like I'd done it 100 times, there he was, inside, smiling, pressed up against the glass from the inside, completely naked this time, skin a grayish white, like thawed meat. His smile was still stitched across his face, lips cracked open just enough to see something moving beneath the gums, tiny chattering teeth, like insect mandibles, vibrating at hyperspeed. And the worst part, he was still breathing. You shouldn't be able to breathe at that temperature, but his chest was rising and falling, shallow, slow, and perfectly timed, like he was saving each breath just for me. I fell backwards, knocking over a display of cleaning supplies. The cashier came running. I looked back at the freezer, empty, just microwave dinners and Eggo waffles. I left without a word. But that night, when I checked my phone again, there was a new notification, not from Snapchat this time, not even from an app I recognized, just a red icon with no name. When I clicked it, the screen went black, then flickered to a grainy live stream. It was me, sleeping on a bench outside. Except, I wasn't. I was watching the screen, awake. So who the F-shucks was that on the bench wearing my jacket, my clothes, my face, curled up, smiling in their sleep, with frost forming on their eyelashes? I shut the phone off, pulled the battery, smashed it on the ground until it cracked. Didn't matter, because when I turned to look at the Walgreens window behind me, the reflection was still there, smiling. I stayed at a 24-hour diner for the next 2 days, barely ate, just watched people, tried to act normal, but the waitress kept checking on me like she knew something. Then one night, she came by with a glass of water and said, "He's been asking about you." I froze. "Who?" She just stared for a moment, then pointed at the TV above the kitchen. The news was playing. Some weather report about strange polar anomalies in Antarctica. Blizzards forming in unnatural patterns. Temperatures dropping without explanation. A missing research team from a Russian base called Zaliv Mirny. Then they cut to surveillance footage. A grainy image of a man standing perfectly still in a hallway, hospital gown, bare feet, smiling. The same footage I saw on the dark web, except this time, the timestamp was live. The footage zoomed in slowly, too slowly. The smile never changed, and in the corner of the screen, there was a new label, something I hadn't seen before. Contagion level, global, status, initiated. I ran out of the diner, sprinting through the streets like my skin was on fire. I swear the snow was falling, even though it was April, and every flake burned when it landed on me. Not hot, cold. So cold, it felt like it was slicing through my jacket. I ducked into an alley, tried to breathe, tried to convince myself I was still human. That's when I saw him again, standing at the other end of the alley, hands at his side, hospital gown fluttering. He smiled and started walking toward me. Except every step he took, the air got colder, like the world was freezing around his movements. Rats stopped running. Steam froze in place. The street lamps dimmed. I screamed, picked up a bottle and threw it. He disappeared, like a glitch in reality. And for a moment, I thought maybe it was over. But when I turned around to run, I ran into myself. But it wasn't me. It was my copy, the one from the bench. Eyes rolled back, skin stiff, and mouth already open, waiting to swallow me whole. I blacked out, woke up in a hospital bed 2 days later. No one would tell me who found me, or what happened, but the window was open, and on the fogged-up glass, written perfectly in finger-dragged ice, were 3 words. You let him in. I don't think I'm me anymore. I think I'm what's left after he steps in. I can feel the cold in my bones even now. My breath fogs in warm eyes. My pupils dilate in the dark. Like something behind my eyes is looking out. And every time I blink, I hear his laugh. Low, guttural, cracking. The sound of someone whose smile never left. I'm not safe. And neither are you, because you're reading this. And that's all it takes. He sees you now, and he's smiling. If you feel the room drop in temperature, don't breathe. He finds you faster if you exhale. You ever hear your own voice before you speak? I mean, not echo, not recording. Not déjà vu. I mean your exact voice, whispering something you didn't say, just a split second before your lips move. It's been happening to me. A lot. And last night, I swear to God, it said, it's warmer inside the cold. And then I smiled, without meaning to, without even wanting to. They discharged me from the hospital way too fast. Said I was lucky. Said, hypothermic shock with hallucinations is rare for someone who wasn't in freezing conditions. They didn't believe me when I told them my breath still fogs up inside, that my skin doesn't feel right in the mirror, that I haven't blinked in 30 hours and my eyes don't even burn anymore. They just handed me a bottle of pills and told me to get rest. The nurse's hands were trembling when she gave me my discharge papers. Her name tag said Sandra, but the skin on her hands was starting to peel like it had been frostbitten. When I asked if she was okay, she leaned in and said, he smiled at me too. Then she walked away and didn't come back. It's not just me anymore. I started seeing other people with that look, that stillness. You know how someone can look normal, but too normal? Like they're just wearing a person, but the seams are stretched a little too tight. They blink wrong. They breathe wrong. They hold eye contact just a few seconds too long, and their lips curl like they forgot how to be human for a second. I've seen them in Starbucks, in Ubers. I even saw one driving a city bus, just grinning at red lights with no passengers on board. Their skin is too pale. Their clothes never wrinkle. They move like they were installed, not born. They're spreading. You ever hear of the term mirroring? Psychopaths do it. They mimic behavior, watch you, copy you until they can replace the gaps. That's what he's doing. Except he's not copying just me anymore. He's copying us all. 2 nights ago, I tried deleting everything. I factory reset my phone, burned the laptop in a back alley trash barrel. Didn't even flinch when the plastic screamed. But when I looked at the ashes, they weren't black. They were white. Snow white. Like powdered ice. And in the center of the pile was a tooth. Human. Still warm. I booked a motel in the middle of nowhere. One of those run-down highway-side places with buzzing neon and wallpaper from 1976. Figured the farther I got from signals, from Wi-Fi, from screens, maybe I'd be safe. I was wrong. The TV was bolted to the dresser. Old tube screen, not even plugged in, still turned itself on at 3:17 a.m. The image was blurry at first, but then it focused. Not on him, not on the smiling copy, on me, sleeping. I stared at myself, pale, shivering, twitching, like I was trying to scream, but couldn't move. Then the version on the screen opened its eyes and looked right at me through the glass and smiled. I ran to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the floor, holding a broken piece of the mirror because I couldn't trust the whole thing anymore. And I swear, the mirror version of me kept breathing when I held my breath, like it was trying to keep itself alive by stealing my air. I scratched the glass, screamed, told it to stop, but it just tilted its head and whispered, "You have no more breath to give." I think he's inside the reflection now, not trapped, not stuck, just waiting. And sometimes I swear the reflection is smiling just a little before I do, like he's practicing, making sure it fits. And he's so close to perfect now. I tried stabbing myself once, just a little, just to see if I'd bleed. I did, but it came out wrong. The blood was thick, syrupy, cold. It steamed in the air like I'd opened a freezer, and when I looked closer, I saw tiny frost crystals forming in the cut, like my blood had been snowing from the inside out. And the dreams. God, the dreams. They're realer than being awake. I'm standing in some facility, underground maybe, pipes groaning above me, walls lined with ice. There are others down there, all wearing hospital gowns, bare feet, no expression, frozen hands folded in their laps. They're all smiling, waiting, and somewhere, beneath the floor, I hear his voice, gurgling, whispering, "You're just a draft. I am the final cut." I started seeing that phrase everywhere, on receipts, subway tickets, even in the steam of my coffee, not printed, formed, like the world itself is becoming his paper. And then, the most fucked up thing happened. My mom called. I hadn't talked to her in weeks. She doesn't know any of this. Her voice was shaking. She said, "Sweetie, I think something's wrong with your cousin Eli. He'd been up all night, not sleeping, just standing in the kitchen, staring out the window, whispering to himself." She said when she touched his shoulder, his skin was cold as glass, and when he turned to face her, he smiled, too wide. He had my smile. I told her to get out, get help, leave the house. Don't turn off the lights. Don't let him speak again. But she just said something I'll never forget. Her voice went quiet. Software. Like she was slipping away. He says, he wants to come home. Then the line went dead. I know what this is now. He's not a ghost. He's not a demon. He's not a virus. He's a mirror. A copy. A recording of suffering that plays itself into reality by infecting whoever watches. He grows in the static. He feeds on reflection. He wears your skin better than you ever could. And when he smiles, the air dies around you. I think he came from Antarctica because it's the only place cold enough to keep him contained until someone streamed it, until someone watched, until I clicked that link. And now the world is thawing him out. I went back to that Discord server, tried to message Voidglass, the guy who posted the original link. His account, gone, deleted, but his status message is still cached in my chat window. It says, I watched myself freeze to death. I was smiling too. You think this is just a story. You think this is just some creepypasta on a screen. But your breath, did it fog up just now? No? Check again. And if it did, don't smile. That's how he finds his way in. If the lights flicker, don't look in the mirror. That's where he'll be, waiting, wearing you. I don't know how to start this part. I've rewritten the opening at least 30 times, and every version felt wrong. Too soft, too sane. There's no nice way to describe what's happened, no structure to what I've become, because I'm not me anymore. I'm the echo he left behind. But I remember everything, every scream I swallowed, every mirror that blinked when I didn't. Every second my skin itched from the inside, like it didn't belong to me anymore. And now I see the pattern. He doesn't kill, not directly. He copies, takes, prints your soul in frost, and plays you back, frame by frame, until the original forgets how to exist, until you smile when you're not supposed to, until you see yourself somewhere you shouldn't be, until you stop breathing and something else keeps living in your place. Last week, I went back to the hospital, the one where I woke up after seeing him inside the freezer. I needed answers. Desperation was the only thing I still felt. Everything else in me had already gone numb. I walked through the automatic doors, and the temperature immediately dropped. Subtle, but there. I watched the receptionist's breath fog as she welcomed me in with a smile that looked too rehearsed. I asked for Nurse Sandra, the one who said he smiled at her too. They looked confused. One nurse even laughed. Sandra, she said, she doesn't work here anymore. Hasn't for months. I asked what happened. She hesitated. Found her in the walk-in freezer, smiling, eyes frozen open. She had a fork in her hand, pressed to her throat. I asked if she died. The nurse didn't answer. She just said, no one dies from him. You either disappear or melt into him. Then she turned and walked away. I went home, not because it was safe, nothing is anymore, but because I needed to see if my apartment was still standing. It was, mostly, but something was different. There was a smell, not like rot or decay. It was clean, too clean, like metal and bleach and the stale breath of an open freezer. And written on the wall in frost so thick it had crystallized were the words, I finally fit. My laptop was back. I burned it. I smashed it. But there it was, sitting open on the desk, like it never left. The screen showed a live feed of my mother's house. She was standing at the kitchen counter, chopping something. She looked wrong. The video was glitching, not in frames, but in her movements. Her arms twitched mid-chop. Her head jittered like a gif. Her smile was frozen to her jawline. Then she turned to the camera, looked straight at me, and said, dinner's ready. Before the screen went black, I heard the sound of a freezer door slamming shut. I bought a bus ticket to her house. 5-hour ride. During that time, I watched the other passengers. Half of them weren't blinking. Some were smiling at nothing. One guy stared out the window the entire trip, whispering, it's almost time. It's almost time. I don't think the bus driver was human anymore. He never once checked the mirrors. His eyes never left the road. And when we arrived, he turned to me, smiled wide, and said, "We've arrived at the replication point." My mom's house was cold. Too cold for April. No lights, no sound, no motion. I walked through the front door, and it felt like I stepped into a different version of my life. Same photos, same furniture, but every frame showed us smiling. Every one of them. Even pictures that used to be normal, vacations, birthdays, holidays, were all changed. Same pose, same lighting, but every face now wore the same twisted glacier grin, and their eyes were blacked out. Not edited, not scratched. They were just voids, like something had eaten the pupils out of the photo and left cold holes behind. I found her in the basement. Not my mom. The thing that looked like her. She was standing in the center of the room. Lights off, arms limp, feet bare, hospital gown, and behind her, the entire back wall was frozen solid, a giant block of ice. Inside it were people, layered, pressed together like meat in a cold sandwich, all frozen mid-smile. Some of them had missing limbs. One man's mouth was open so wide you could see his jawbone had snapped completely in half. And in the center of that icy tomb, I saw myself. He wasn't asleep. He wasn't frozen. He was watching. And when I stepped closer, his eyes moved, just slightly, but they locked onto me like crosshairs, and his smile grew past the limit of skin. His lips cracked, his cheeks split. Blood and frost fell together like confetti, and then he spoke through me, not through the air, not out loud, through my own damn throat. His voice used mine, stretched it out like wire through meat. "You're not a person, you're a place, and I have moved in." I tried to run, but my legs didn't respond, because they weren't mine anymore. My hands started changing, skin flaking, fingertips turning pale and translucent, the bones underneath pulsing with veins of frost. My breath fogged thicker, denser. The air around me started freezing mid-motion. Dust particles locked in time. Light beams shattered like glass as they bent. And then I heard the others, from the ice. Hundreds of mouths moving without noise. Whispers scratching inside my skull. Words in reverse. Sentences in clicks and snaps of frozen joints. They were trying to teach me the sound of silence. I don't know how I got out. I think something let me. Or maybe this is just the final hallucination before the real me gets erased. Either way, this is the last part. Not because the story's over, but because the person writing it won't exist much longer. I found a mirror last night, one I hadn't looked into in days. I covered all of them with sheets and blankets, duct taped the corners. But this one was just there, on the ceiling, right above my bed. I looked up and saw myself. Only it wasn't me. It was him. The smile, the eyes, and something behind him, crawling just outside the mirror's frame. Something tall, something naked, something made of teeth and frost and memory. It whispered one final thing before I passed out. The copy is complete. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. You've already seen too much. That transmission wasn't a video. It was an infection, a visual virus, a replicator. It copies consciousness through imagery, through sound, through awareness. Now that you've followed this far, now that the words have made shapes in your brain, you've already started to smile without meaning to. Haven't you? Don't trust mirrors. Don't trust your voice. Don't trust the people who don't blink. And whatever you do, don't look at yourself when you hear the wind howl. Because if you do, you might just see something smiling back, and it'll be you. But not really. Not anymore. This transmission was recorded at minus 71 degrees Celsius. It is still breathing. I found a dark web marketplace for serial killers. One of the listings had my brother's name as a completed job. Don't go looking where you shouldn't. What's up, Reddit? I don't even know how to start this honestly. I've never posted on here before, but I've been lurking around r/NOSLEEP for a while now, and after what happened, I need to get this off my chest. Maybe someone out there knows more than I do. Maybe someone's been through something similar. Or maybe, just maybe, someone can tell me I'm not going insane. This all started about 4 months ago. I was living with my roommate Nick in this crappy 2-bedroom apartment just outside of Chicago. We were both broke college dropouts, working garbage shifts at Starbucks and scrolling TikTok until 3 a.m., acting like we weren't wasting our lives. Nick, though, he was into weird stuff. Like, not the usual Redditor weird, I mean deep weird. He had this whole obsession with the dark web. I always thought it was an edgy phase or something, like a dude just trying too hard to be interesting. He'd talk about these forums and private marketplaces like he was some kind of hacker. He wasn't. He could barely code a Discord bot. Anyway, one night we chilling, playing Warzone, and he turns to me and says, "You ever heard of Red Market?" I was like, "Yeah, isn't that the dark web organ selling thing?" And he just smirks and goes, "Nah, bro, that's what everyone thinks. This is different, way darker." He told me Red Market was a private network, not accessible through Tor like normal dark web stuff. You had to get invited. It was some VIP, ultra hidden kind of deal. According to him, it wasn't about buying organs or drugs. It was a hitman service, like a literal marketplace where you could hire murderers, rate their work, and even watch proof of job footage if you paid extra. I laughed, out loud, like full-on dumb YouTuber prank video laugh. I thought he was messing with me, until he pulled out this busted old Lenovo laptop and showed me. The screen was cracked, the keys were sticky, but the stuff he'd loaded up on it, man, I wish I'd never seen it. He opened this creepy looking browser that wasn't Tor, and everything had this blood red and black aesthetic, like some early 2000s edgelord website. There was no text on the homepage, just a skull logo with a glitchy effect, and this button that said, "Enter." He clicks it, and boom, we're inside. This list of services pops up. Real ones. I'm talking silent disposal, $15,000 family package, $35,000, night crawlers discount list, jobs completed, with ratings. It looked fake. Like, I legit thought it was some ARG or horror game, until Nick clicked on jobs completed. The list was long, like really long. Dates, names, short descriptions, stuff like job number 3, 1097, completed March 2nd, 2023, Seattle, Washington, client review, fast and clean, no loose ends, Einde. But then Nick stopped scrolling. His face went pale, like he just saw a ghost or something, and then he whispered, "Dude, look." There it was. Job number 3278, completed January 14th, 2023, Cleveland, Ohio target, Jordan A. Myers. Client review. Took longer than expected. Had to switch operators. Body was never found, but satisfactory results. 3/5 stars. My stomach dropped. That's my brother's name, Jordan L. Myers. And the date? That's the exact day he went missing. A little backstory. Jordan was my older brother, straight A student, into music, super chill. He was last seen leaving a gig in Cleveland. He just vanished. Police said he probably ran off. No foul play. That's what they always say when they don't care. We had no closure, no answers, just pain. It ripped our family apart. So seeing his name on that site, it didn't feel fake anymore. I slammed the laptop shut and shouted at Nick, asking him if this was some kind of joke. He swore on his life it wasn't. Said he didn't even notice my brother's name until just then. I didn't sleep that night, or the next one. For 3 days, I couldn't eat. I kept replaying the page in my head, every word of that twisted little client review. Who orders a murder like Uber Eats and leaves a 3-star review? But here's the thing. I couldn't let it go. I needed to know more. So I told Nick, get me back in. That was the start of the worst decision of my life. He told me he got access through some guy on a Discord server for urban legends. He said the guy's username was at @King, and that he gave him a file to run on the laptop, which unlocked a hidden node only visible on a specific private network. Sketchy, I know. I begged Nick to message him again, to ask about job number 3278. And you know what that dude said? He replied with a message that still makes my skin crawl. Once a job's done, there's no going back. But if you really want answers, check the proof vault. Some files are still open to unpaid eyes. Look for 3278.x. I asked Nick what the hell that meant. He looked at me and said, that means we might be able to see it. See what? I asked. He just said, the job. The next part of the story is where it really gets disturbing. If you guys want me to post part 2, let me know. I've got screenshots, I've got recordings, and I haven't even told you what was in the footage we found. Trust me, it gets way worse. Let me know if you're ready. Upvote this post and drop a comment if you'd keep watching this if it were a horror video series. Think Luna meets R/N/sleep, but way darker. Let me know. 3278.exe. Nick didn't even argue. He knew I wasn't going to let it go. We waited until around 2 a.m. Our neighbors were asleep. The city was quiet, and the only light in the room came from the dim laptop screen, flickering like it was alive. He booted the busted Lenovo again. The fan screamed like it was trying to warn us. He navigated back to the site. Red market. Same skull logo. Same button. But now I was looking at it with different eyes. It wasn't edgy anymore. It felt alive, like something in the code itself was watching us. Nick clicked on Vault, and it asked for a secondary code. He looked nervous. I don't know this part, he said. I've never gone this deep. I asked him to check his DMS with that @3King guy again. After scrolling for a bit, he found it. 6 random characters. V1X0D7. He typed it in. The screen glitched for a second. Like, literally glitched. Pixelated, scrambled mess of images. Faces, blood, grainy video stills. Flashes of what looked like CCTV cameras. Someone in a white mask. A girl screaming, but her mouth had no sound. Like the file wanted to corrupt your mind. Then, the vault opened. Just a black screen with a vertical list of .exe files. Dozens of them. Each one had a number. 3278.exe was there. It had a red warning icon next to it. I didn't blink. I told him to open it. He hesitated. If this is what I think it is, there's no unseeing it. I said, do it. He clicked. The file opened like a security camera feed. No controls, no interface, just raw, silent footage that looked like it was pulled from a 2004 Nokia, but the clarity made it even more horrifying. There was this deep grain over the image, like someone had intentionally made it uglier. The timestamp on the top corner read January 14th, 2023, 3:17 a.m. It showed a dim parking lot. I recognized it instantly. It was outside Club Hex, a sketchy venue in downtown Cleveland where Jordan's band had played their last show. There's Jordan, clear as day, walking to his old Ford Focus with his guitar case slung over his shoulder. But then, something changed. There was another figure standing near the back of the lot, not moving, completely still. I don't know how we missed him the first few seconds. The camera zoomed slightly, like someone remote controlling it. The figure was tall, wearing a hoodie with a flat black face mask. Not a ski mask, just blank, like Creepypasta urban legend blank. And he was holding something. At first, I thought it was a cane or pipe. But when he walked, and he walked like he'd done this 1,000 times, you could tell it was a tire iron. He didn't run. He didn't rush. He just calmly walked up behind Jordan, raised the tire iron, and swung. 3 times. No sound, no music, just silent carnage. The third swing made Jordan drop, his skull slamming into the asphalt with a wet slap I could hear in my head. The camera didn't flinch. It zoomed in. The man leaned over Jordan's twitching body and pulled something from his pocket. Looked like a thick plastic Ziploc. He pulled out a photo. It was a printed picture of Jordan, one of his Instagram selfies, the one where he wore that stupid bandana and had his fingers in a peace sign. The guy stared at the photo, then at Jordan, like confirming the hit. Then he pulled out his phone. He took a picture of Jordan's face, still twitching, bleeding, gasping. I couldn't breathe. Nick was shaking next to me, whispering, "Oh my God," over and over. Then the killer looked directly at the camera. He knew we were watching. He held up the photo of Jordan and slowly pressed it against Jordan's blood-covered face until it stuck. And then he walked away, leaving the body with that selfie plastered across his face like a death mask. The screen faded to black. A new window opened automatically, like part of the program. Just a message. Client. Confirmed. Job number 327-8 status complete. Thank you for trusting Red Market. That wasn't a video. That was a ritual. Nick was freaking out. He kept repeating, "This isn't real. This isn't real." I couldn't speak. I was numb. But then I saw it. A tiny icon in the corner of the screen. Download evidence package. Without hesitation, I clicked it. It zipped everything into a file and dumped it into the laptop's drive. That's when I noticed something even more screwed up. The file name wasn't random. For Devon, Myers.zip. That's my name. The laptop powered off by itself. We didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at nothing, while Nick paced the apartment chain smoking. I started getting emails around 4 a.m. from burner addresses. Stuff like, "We know what you saw. Too deep, too late. Red eyes are watching. Upload it, and you'll join him." They had my full name, my address, my phone number, a photo of my mom's house taken from across the street. That was the worst one. Whoever they weren't bluffing. Things escalated fast. The next day, I tried to report it. I swear I did. I walked into a police station in person with the laptop and a flash drive backup. The officer took one look at the folder names, asked me to wait in the lobby, and never came back. 30 minutes later, a different guy in a black suit, not a cop, came out and told me they couldn't help. Said it was classified digital intel, and I shouldn't have access to it. I went home. The files were gone. Nick's laptop, fried. Hard drive wiped clean. Just a skull icon burned into the BIOS screen when you powered it on. I don't even know how that's possible. Then Nick disappeared. Gone. No note. No message. No social media updates. Nothing. His phone last pinged in a Walmart parking lot in Indiana. I went there. All I found was his cracked phone lying in the bushes behind a dumpster. Inside the Notes app, one line. I saw the job list again. This time, your name was on it. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, I've moved twice. I use a VPN, burner phone, fake name, but it doesn't matter. They still find me. I get emails with photos of me at Target, sitting on a bus, walking home from 7-Eleven. I haven't told my parents. They'd never believe me. They already had a breakdown over Jordan. If they knew what really happened, if they saw what I saw, they'd never recover. But I'm not posting this to be believed. I'm posting this to warn you. Stay away from the deep web. It's not just stories or creepypasta videos anymore. There are people out there running businesses in murder. There are clients. There are operators. There are ratings. Red market is real, and it's expanding. And if you ever see your name on one of their files, it's already too late. Coming soon. Let me know if you want the next part. I still have one final recording, and it might just prove how deep this thing goes. The operator is watching. I thought I was done. I wanted to be done. After Nick vanished, I swore I'd burn the flash drive, toss the backups, delete every message, every file. But you can't delete trauma. You can't just uninstall the images that play in your head at 3:46 a.m. when you blink too long. You can't delete the operator. I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to show you what they are. Because this isn't just about a hit gone wrong. This is a system. This is a sick, structured network. And someone is making a killing. Literally. And if you think I'm crazy, fine. But after this part, you'll wish I was. The doorbell incident. It happened exactly 11 days after Nick vanished. I was crashing at this cheap extended stay hotel outside of Gary, Indiana. That's how far I had to run just to breathe. Sketchy place. Room smelled like wet carpet and body odor, but I didn't care. It was all I could afford. I'd barely been sleeping. My brain was fried. I was spiraling, but one thing was keeping me alive. The folder I managed to recover. See, after Nick's laptop got fried, I remembered I had uploaded a backup to a temporary encrypted cloud using a throwaway Proton Mail login. I found it while digging through an old Reddit thread about digital dead drops. The backup had a few things: a text file named operatormanual.txt, a weird executable called Red Viewer, and an audio file titled finalping.wave. I hadn't opened any of it yet, not until the doorbell rang. It was 4:03 a.m., the kind of hour where the world feels paused, the kind of silence where the only sound is your heartbeat and the distant buzz of the old motel soda machine outside. The doorbell rang. Once. A cold, sharp ding, like a mechanical whisper. There shouldn't be a doorbell. This wasn't a house. This was room 206 at the Delwood Suites, a motel. I peeked through the cracked blinds. There was a figure standing there. He was wearing a UPS uniform, brown jacket, hat, package in hand. But something was wrong. Something was off about him. He was facing the door, staring straight at it, not fidgeting, not moving, not even blinking. I couldn't see his eyes. His cap was too low, but the stillness of his body made my teeth hurt. It wasn't human stillness. It was posed. The package was addressed to me. My real name. I never gave the motel that name. I'd booked under an alias, paid cash. How did they know where I was? He didn't knock again, just slowly set the package down and walked away. I waited a full hour before I opened the door. Inside the box was a burner phone. No return address, no markings, nothing else. The phone buzzed once when I picked it up. One file, one name, one note. The file was a .move video. Name, operator, serve.pac. The note read, "He sees through the screens. Welcome to the other side." I didn't open it right away. My hands were shaking too bad. I had to go to the bathroom and puke. The lights in the room started flickering like bad horror movie cliches. But I swear to God, this is the part that gets under your skin. When I looked into the mirror, my reflection wasn't moving right. My mouth moved slower than the rest of my face, like the glass wasn't synced to reality. When I finally played the video, it auto full screened. No controls, no pause, just static, and then a room. A plain white room, no furniture, no shadows, the kind of blank space you'd see in sensory deprivation videos. In the middle of the room was a person, tied to a chair, duct tape across their mouth, head slumped. Then the camera panned upward. There was no camera operator, no motion. It just moved. That's when I realized this wasn't a video file. It was a live feed. The person in the chair groaned, looked up, blood all over their face, and I froze. It was Nick. I haven't told anyone this part, but he was alive. Or, mostly. His left eye was gone, just a black void wrapped in gauze. His lips were moving, but no sound came through. Then a voice, mechanical, artificial, but somehow wet, like it was being filtered through a throat that shouldn't be speaking. Operator 49 has failed to maintain silence. Punishment required. From the top corner of the room, a metal door opened, slowly, loud enough to feel in your bones, and something crawled in. It wasn't a man. It wasn't an animal either. It had the shape of a human, but the limbs were jointed wrong. It bent sideways, its knees inverted. Its skin looked sewn together, literally stitched, like Frankenstein, but smoother, more deliberate. Its face was a featureless matte black mask with only a red line for a mouth. And it opened, not the mouth, the mask, like it split open down the center and revealed teeth. Thousands of them, like shark rows, but all vibrating, clicking, and it screamed. The screen went white, then text. Your viewing privileges have expired. Operator 50 pending. That's me. I'm Operator 50, the operator manual. That same night, I finally opened the text file, operatormanual.txt. Here's what it said. I'm not even going to paraphrase. I want you to feel it, how I felt it, word for word. VBNet copy. Edit. Welcome, operator. You are now a registered viewer. Your role is observer. Your duty is to witness. Your tasks are as follows. Do not interfere with active contracts. Do not attempt to contact targets. Do not speak about the market publicly. Failure to comply will result in operator reclamation. Remember, you watched, you stayed, you belong now. Job list. Update. New target. Devin Myers. Status. Processing the final ping. I played the last file. just an audio file. Final ping .wav. It starts with white noise, static, background TV hum, but then, under it, a faint breathing, and a voice whispers, over and over, "We see what you see. We know what you know. You are not watching the market. The market is watching you." Then a second voice joins, higher pitch, inhuman, almost childlike. Operator 50 confirmed. Initiate extraction soon. Await contact. The last thing in the audio, the sound of my hotel room door unlocking. I don't know how long I have. I've changed rooms. I've broken mirrors. I avoid screens. But it's no use. The operator doesn't need to find you. He's already inside you. They choose people who look. People who can't stop watching. The algorithm. The obsession. The rabbit hole. That's the real trap. They don't lure you. You click your way in. This marketplace isn't about money. It's about consumption. And now I'm part of it. If you're reading this, it means they let me post it. That means you're next. Because the market runs on views. And you just became an observer. Lock your doors. Check your mirrors. And don't answer the door if no one knocks. The extraction team. I haven't been outside in 8 days. I ripped out the curtains, smashed every reflective surface in the room, covered the peephole with duct tape, turned off every screen, laptop, phone, even the old motel TV. I hear it whispering, even when it's unplugged. They call it screen sickness. The operator's touch lingers in electronics. You stare too long, it starts to stare back. I've seen things in the screen's reflection that weren't in the room. Sometimes I see Nick's face in the black glass, just hovering, eyes missing, mouth stitched shut, that same blood-soaked bandage wrapped around his head like a crown. I know what you're thinking. This is psychosis. But you didn't hear the knock. It was 2 nights ago. Exactly 3:33 a.m. A different kind of knock. Hollow, repetitive. 4 taps, pause. 3 taps, long pause. 1 tap, and then silence. The next morning, I found a USB drive pushed under my door. No envelope, no label. Just a handwritten word scratched into the metal casing with something sharp. Obey. I should have burned it. Thrown it into Lake Michigan, crushed it under my boot, anything. But curiosity isn't just a weakness. It's a virus. It's how they pick us. So I plugged it in. My screen went black. No icons. No OS. Just a black screen and the word Extraction Team Inbound. The surveillance feed. Then a feed flickered on. It looked like body cam footage. Multiple cams stitched together, like a tactical unit's point of view. But these weren't soldiers. These weren't police. This was something else entirely, though helmets had no insignia. Just that same skull icon from the Red Market homepage, carved crudely into the black matte metal. The cam feed glitched every few seconds, like it wasn't meant for human eyes. Camera 1, a hallway. Fluorescent lights flickering overhead, a girl screaming in the distance. Camera 2, a stairwell, blood on every step, what looked like fingers scattered across the landing. Camera 3, a nursery, no children, just a crib filled with VHS tapes, labeled with dates, all red. Then I saw it. Camera 4, a motel hallway, mine. The feed showed the exact door I was hiding behind, room 206. There was no timestamp, no HUD, just raw, breathing video. The camera turned, zoomed, focused on the door, and that's when I knew. They weren't watching me. They were recording me, in real time. The tapping glass, the windows in the motel room were bolted shut. Old safety design. I'd already broken the locks out of paranoia, stuffed them with towels and duct tape. But that night, around 4:17 a.m., I heard the sound of fingernails dragging across the glass. Not scratching, not knocking, dragging, like someone was slowly tracing the outline of my silhouette through the curtains. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just waited. Then, a voice, clear as day, from inside the room. "He's not ready yet." I spun around. No one there. That's when I looked at the mirror I'd covered in duct tape earlier. It was peeling, on its own, one strip at a time, and behind it, instead of my reflection, was a live feed. A dark room, one chair, and a body strapped down. A bright, clinical light buzzed from above. The person in the chair lifted their head. It was my mom, gagged, eyes bloodshot, cheeks bruised. Then the screen flicked again, and the chair was empty, but the duct tape was still peeling itself off. The sound file. I remembered the USB had more files. One of them was an audio clip named ETS Protocol 47.WAV. I played it. This is where it breaks people. It starts with breathing, a woman hyperventilating, metal clanging, chains, then footsteps, slow, rhythmic, like boots on concrete. A voice, low and precise. "This is Operator 13, Extraction Team, Sigma 47 entering site. Target confirmed. Subject, Devon Myers. Authorization code, REVENT-VIOLET. His second voice, more distorted, joins. He's seen too much, witnessed a completed contract, viewed unfiltered footage, touched unauthorized data, then screams. It wasn't her, not my mum, not Nick. It was me. I was listening to a future recording of my own voice screaming. They recorded my death before I'd even died. The phone call. I smashed the USB, smashed the laptop, slammed it into the wall until the plastic was splintered like bone. Didn't matter. The motel phone rang. An old beige landline. It rang once. I picked it up. Nothing. Then a sound. Click, 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 click. Rhythmic, slow, familiar. A tape recorder rewinding. Then a distorted version of my own voice said, "You are now entering the confirmation phase. Extraction in 3, 2 dots, 1. The phone melted in my hand. Plastic warped. Keys liquefied. The cord turned to ash between my fingers. The team arrives. I ran. Didn't pack. Didn't even grab shoes. I ran barefoot out of the motel into the rain, into the dark woods behind the property. Didn't stop until my legs collapsed. I don't know how far I got. Miles maybe. But I remember this. The woods went silent. No wind. No crickets. Just pressure. Like the world held its breath. Then the lights appeared. Flashlights. Number too bright. Too steady. They weren't being held. They floated. 4 beams. 4 glowing orbs in the dark, scanning the trees like eyes. I heard voices. Not talking, but chanting. Confirm the contract. Confirm the contract. Witness the witness. I climbed into a hollowed out tree stump and stayed there for hours. Muddy, soaked, shivering, trying not to cry. And then I heard it again. That inhuman voice, childlike, glitching, right outside the stump. Operator 50 located. Extraction deferred. Awaiting final footage. Then, silence. They left me alive. Because they're waiting. The final file. When I returned to the motel the next morning, if you can believe this, it was gone. Gone. The entire building, flattened, like it never existed. Police tape surrounded an empty lot. I asked a gas station clerk what happened. He just stared at me and said, "That building's been gone since 2016. I'm telling you, I slept there 3 nights ago. I have the receipt, the card, the lock key. It's in my backpack. You want to see? It doesn't matter, because the final file found me anyway. Airdrop to my burner phone. No sender. Video file. Name. Extract 50 end dot move. I haven't opened it yet, but I already know what's in it. It's me, strapped to the chair, eyes torn open, mouth sewn shut, screaming without sound. Because the operator doesn't need you to speak. He just needs you to watch. And now that you've read this, you've joined the market too, if I survive long enough to finish it. Red eyes in the static. I haven't seen the sun in 14 days. Not because it's cloudy, not because I'm underground. It's because I physically can't. Every time daylight touches my skin, it burns. Not like fire, more like shame. Like I'm not supposed to exist under light anymore. I've stared too deep into the code, into the filth buried in the bandwidth. I've seen faces that aren't indexed by search engines, heard voices that don't echo outside of fiber optic cables. But I'm not hiding anymore. I'm documenting this for the next victim, because you're already on the list. The final footage. I played the file, the one that was airdropped to my burner with no sender, no timestamp, no metadata, just a name. Extract 50 end dot move. It started with static, full screen. But if you watched long enough, and I mean really watched, you could see things moving inside it. Not glitches, faces, hundreds of them, shifting in the noise like drowning souls trying to scream through liquid glass. Every now and then, one would break through the fuzz for half a second. Their mouths would open too wide, too vertical, like a jaw unhinging the wrong way. Some looked like they were inside out. Others didn't have skin at all, just blinking wet muscle. Then came the tone, a low hum. It started at a pitch you could ignore, but then it climbed, kept rising until it felt like a nail being drilled into your skull. I tried to mute it, couldn't. Tried to shut the phone off. Nothing. Tried to throw it. My hand wouldn't let go. The footage cut in. The room. The chair. Same as the operator's chamber. I was in it. My body. My face. My clothes from the night before. I wasn't tied down. I was just sitting there, slumped, staring at the floor, breathing slow, controlled, like I had no idea there was a camera watching. Then I looked up, right into the lens, right into me. That version of me on the screen smiled, and then it waved. The chair that doesn't exist. 2 nights ago, I woke up strapped to that same metal chair, in real life, not dreaming, not tripping, not half asleep. Real steel under my arms, plastic zip ties cutting into my skin, mouth taped shut, breathing through one nostril, the other clogged with dried blood. The room was freezing. I could hear machines humming around me, beeps, feedback loops, that high-pitched static again. And then I saw them, 4 figures, standing in the shadows, just beyond the edge of the industrial light. Faces covered in medical masks. Only theirs weren't fabric. They were sewn on, threaded into the skin. You could see where the stitches went straight through the cheeks, holding the white cloth in place. They didn't speak. They didn't move. They just watched. And every few minutes, a light would flicker, and I'd see their eyes glow red, not glowing like flashlights, glowing like rage, like hatred that had been digitally compressed. Then a voice from the ceiling boomed in that mechanical whisper, "Operator 50, confirmation required." One of the masked figures stepped forward. He was holding something, a manila folder. He opened it and showed me photos of you. Reading this, scrolling, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, consuming. He whispered into my ear through the mask. He watched too. He looked too long. He read all 5 parts. He wants to know what happens. He's next. I tried to scream. I tried to warn you, but I couldn't speak. All I could do was look into the camera above my head, because there was always a camera, and cry through my teeth. The repeater. They left me in that room for what felt like hours, maybe days. Then I woke up in a different place, my apartment. But it wasn't right. The color of the walls was off. The floor creaked too loud. My fridge was running, but the sound was reversed, like an audio file rewinding in real time. The faucet dripped upward. My bed was missing, and the clock on the microwave blinked. 0, 0, 0, 0, over and over. Even when I unplugged it, even when I smashed it with a hammer, even when I threw it off the 5th floor balcony. And on my desk was a note, scratched into the wood, not written, scratched. Repeat the story, spread the seed, let the eyes grow. You're watching. Every time I tell this story, it gets worse. The operator doesn't just want watchers, he wants witnesses. The market doesn't care if you believe it. It only cares if you engage. Every second you spend reading this, you're feeding it. The red market lives off your attention. That's why it feels addictive. That's why your curiosity makes your heart beat faster. That's why you're still here. It's studying you. Right now, through your camera, through the screen. If your room feels colder now, it's not just your imagination. If your speakers hiss when nothing's playing, that's not static. It's the breath between words. It's the silence before the tape starts again. But last file. After the 3rd blackout, my burner phone turned itself on. No SIM, no power. Just a single file sitting on the home screen. Market expansion plan.pdf. It opened automatically. There were coordinates, schools, airports, shopping malls, Twitch streamers, YouTube channels, Discord servers, all highlighted in red. Some marked pending, others acquired. But one location blinked, over and over. Your current IP address. Underneath it, a timestamp, 24 hours. And then the final page appeared. Just one sentence, center aligned. Congratulations, Operator 51. The chair is ready. I'm not writing this anymore. I'm not the author of this part. This story is now self-generating. The market wrote this through me. My words are a vessel. My hands just move. My mind is static. My soul has been pawned for content. If you made it this far, you're already enrolled. You've seen too much. They will come. They always come for the ones who reach the end. And you reached it. Do not refresh. Do not share. Do not speak. Just wait. The extraction team is already outside. I bought a deleted NASA recording from the dark web. The audio was distorted, but one phrase was clear. The moon is watching. It started with a Reddit thread. Alright, so I don't usually post on here. I've been lurking on r/NOSLEEP for years, mostly just scrolling late at night when I can't sleep, reading all the "my uncle disappeared in the woods" or "I got a call from myself" type stories. They're fun. Creepy, yeah, but fun. I never expected I'd be writing one of my own, especially one like this. Before I start, no, I'm not on drugs. I'm not sleep deprived. I'm not mentally ill. I'm just a 24-year-old guy who used to work a boring IT job in a WeWork in Chicago. And in my free time, I'd mess around on forums, YouTube, Discord servers, and occasionally dip into the dark web. Not for anything illegal, I swear, just to see what's out there. Curiosity, right? It all started when I found a thread on a now deleted subreddit. I think it was called r/deep data drops or something. The entire thing vanished a week after I found it. But the post was titled, "Anyone else ever seen the NASA recording called LUN 374? It got deleted in 2003. I just found it again." I clicked on it, thinking it was some kind of RRG or hoax. The post was vague, like intentionally cryptic. Just a screenshot of a WAV file, open in Audacity. And below it, someone had written, "They didn't delete it because of static. They deleted it because of what it said when it got quiet." That sentence right there, it lived in my head rent-free for days. I tried to Google LUN-374 and got nothing. I even used a few shady search engines like Amia and Not Evil. Still zilch. At that point, I assumed it was just another fake creepypasta being workshopped. But then I got a DM from a throwaway Reddit account. The name was just a string of numbers and letters. No posts, no comma. They wrote, "You want the file? $100 in Bitcoin. You'll get the full audio, but don't listen to it at night." Now normally, I would have dipped the hell out right there. This had scam written all over it, right? But something about this whole thing gnawed at me, like that same dumb human urge that makes us watch scary videos with the lights off. I had the cash. I figured, worst case, I lose $100. Best case, I get something cool to post about. So I paid. 3 hours later, I got an email. It had no subject line, just a Google Drive link, which I instantly downloaded and deleted off the cloud. I'm not that stupid. And a password-protected .zip file called LUN_374_archive.zip. Inside, it was one audio file, LUN-374_RAWAUDIO.WAV, and that was it. No explanation. No readme.txt. Just that. Now, here's where things get weird. I opened the file in Audacity, and at first it was just static, like classic white noise for the first 2 minutes. I thought I got ripped off. But when I zoomed out on the waveform, I saw this little spike, like this tiny blip in the sound, around the 211 mark. So I cranked the volume, put on my headphones, and listened close. I swear on everything I own, it was breathing, like someone in a full spacesuit, breathing slowly, not mechanical, not rhythmic, human, and it was subtle, like it was trying not to be heard. The hairs on my arms stood straight up. Then I noticed something else. A voice, buried under the static. Male, American accent, and it was whispering, barely audible. "The moon is watching." I actually jumped back from my laptop. That voice didn't sound like a recording. It sounded like someone in the room. I yanked off my headphones, heart pounding. No one was there, obviously, but it didn't feel like I was alone. I know how crazy that sounds, but it was like something shifted in the air around me. Like the room wasn't just quiet, it was waiting. I played it back again. Same breathing, same whisper. "The moon is watching." I wanted to call someone. A friend, my cousin, anyone. But how do you explain that without sounding like a lunatic? "Hey, I just bought a haunted NASA file off the dark web, and now I'm hearing breathing." Yeah, no thanks. So instead, I did the worst thing I possibly could have done. I went deeper. I posted a screenshot of the waveform on Twitter. I blurred the file name, didn't mention the dark web stuff, just said, Weird audio I'm messing with. Anyone know what this pattern means? Got a few replies from audio nerds saying it looked like a spectrogram anomaly. One guy said it resembled a low-frequency infrasound pattern, which is the same thing used in horror movies to make you feel uneasy without even knowing why. You can't hear it consciously, but your body reacts. Your heartbeat rises, your stomach twists. That explained the weird nausea I felt while listening to it. But then I got a DM. It was from a guy who claimed to have worked for NASA in the late 90s. His account was private, had 3 followers. His message just said, "Delete that file. Don't play it again. Don't look at it anymore. You don't know what you have." I responded with a short, "Why?" He left me on red. That same night, I had the worst nightmare I've ever had. I was on the surface of the moon, standing outside this black, broken-down spacecraft. I could see Earth in the distance, so small it looked like a marble. Everything was silent. Then I turned around and saw someone, or something, standing next to me. Not in a suit, just watching me. And I swear, the moon blinked. Not like an eye appeared. I mean, the craters moved, like a face was hiding underneath the surface. And I woke up choking, like someone had their hand around my neck. It's 3:33 a.m. right now, as I'm writing this. I haven't slept properly in 3 nights. I've started seeing these weird glitches on my phone. Instagram videos freeze on the moon. TikToks randomly cut to static. Even my McDonald's app glitched out and showed this message. Moon error. Signal blocked. No joke. I screenshot it. I'll post it in part 2 if you guys want proof. I'm starting to think this isn't just a recording. It's something else. Something that was never supposed to be found. And now it's in my laptop. And maybe it's in me too. I didn't go into work the next day. I told my boss I had food poisoning, which technically wasn't a lie. My stomach was a knot of acid and panic, and something else I still can't explain. The kind of unease you feel right before something terrible happens, like when your phone rings at 2 a.m. and you just know it's gonna be bad news. I stayed home and stared at that .wav file for hours. I didn't open it again. I didn't need to. The audio wasn't stuck in the file anymore. It was stuck in me. Every few minutes I'd hear it, faint and far off, like the whisper was crawling through my apartment walls. I live in a high-rise downtown Chicago, 19th floor, concrete, thick walls, but I kept hearing that breath, steady and shallow. That same voice, dry, deliberate. The moon is watching. By the second day, it wasn't just a sound. It was images, glimpses, things that flashed in my vision like subliminal frames from a banned horror film. I was scrolling through TikTok, just trying to drown out my own thoughts, when a video froze mid-dance. The girl had been doing that stupid silhouette challenge thing when the screen glitched just for a second. The red light went black. Her silhouette didn't move. It stared straight into the camera. The eyes weren't hers anymore. They were wide, empty, glowing this faint, sickly yellow. And behind her, a full, perfectly round moon, hovering indoors, like it had torn through her bedroom ceiling and was watching her from behind like a spotlight. The video cut. My phone crashed. Wouldn't turn back on for 3 hours. I tried telling my friend Max about it. He's the only guy I trust with this kind of stuff. Max is a software engineer, bit of a conspiracy nut, but sharp as hell. He's the one who first taught me how to navigate the dark web without getting instantly hacked or FBI'd. I sent him the LUN-374 file through Proton Mail, told him everything. He said he'd give it a listen that night and FaceTime me right after, but I never got the call. Instead, I woke up to 38 missed calls from Max's sister. At 4:41 a.m., she texted me this: "He's not breathing. What did you send him?" She found him collapsed on the floor, still wearing his headphones. He had blood coming out of his ears and nose. His eyes were wide open and completely white, like they had boiled inside his skull. The coroner ruled it as a sudden brain aneurysm, but I saw the photos she posted on her private Instagram account. I wasn't supposed to see them, but I did. Max's face wasn't in pain. He was smiling. A twisted, unnatural grin pulled so far back it split the skin at the corners of his mouth, like someone was holding a string from behind his head and yanking it up until his face cracked. And I know what you're thinking. You're just seeing what you expect to see. But this wasn't me projecting fear. This was something real. And then came the voices. They didn't sound like the whispers from the file. These were louder, directer, like someone was leaning over my shoulder at all times. I'd be in the shower, eyes closed, and I'd hear, "You listened too long." Walking past a Starbucks downtown, I glanced through the window and saw every barista standing still, not working, not moving, just staring at the security camera in the ceiling like it was speaking to them. I blinked and it was over, back to normal. The line moved. People laughed, but they weren't real people anymore. It was like the world kept flickering in and out, and whatever's behind it, whatever watches from behind the veil, was starting to bleed through. I started seeing those eyes everywhere, reflections on glass doors, flickers in subway tunnel shadows, even in the foam of my Starbucks caramel macchiato, a perfect pair of yellow eyes swirling back up at me, staring. The moon is watching. That line looped in my head like a chant, like a curse. I was losing sleep. I stopped eating. My eyes were so bloodshot, I looked like I'd been crying for a week straight. My neighbors started avoiding me in the hallway. I caught my upstairs neighbor whispering to her friend. He keeps talking to his TV like it's answering back. Because it was. I'd turn it on just for background noise. CNN, Netflix, whatever. But every show, every single one, started glitching around the same timestamp. 19 minutes and 74 seconds in. That number, 1974, came up so many times, I finally looked it up. Turns out, in December 1974, NASA lost contact with Apollo 20. Now here's the kicker. Apollo 20 didn't exist. Officially, it was cancelled due to budget cuts. But unofficially, there are forums, conspiracies, blurry leaked photos, a few whistleblowers who disappeared. Apollo 20 was supposedly launched in secret from Vandenberg Air Force Base. Mission: to investigate an anomaly on the far side of the moon. A massive cigar-shaped object spotted in earlier missions, but buried in classified footage. YouTube videos covering this stuff used to exist. I say used to, because over the next week, they started disappearing. Entire channels gone, Reddit posts wiped, Discord servers nuked. But the file, LUN-374, it stayed on my laptop, untouched, undeletable. Every time I tried to drag it to the trash, the screen would glitch and restart. I even took my laptop to a Genius bar. The Apple tech looked at it for about 5 seconds before he went completely pale and said, "I can't touch this. I'm sorry. Please leave." I asked him what he saw and he just whispered, "Not a file. It's a beacon." That night, I unplugged everything. My phone, my laptop, my smart TV, even my Echo Dot. I sat in the dark, breathing slow, trying to think. Then my lights flickered, and my Bluetooth speaker turned itself on. I swear to God, I didn't touch it. It wasn't even connected to anything. The static came first, then the voice. But this time, it didn't say, "The moon is watching." It said, "We've seen inside you now." I collapsed, literally just dropped to the floor like my bones had liquefied. And while I was lying there, frozen, unable to scream, I saw something step out from my bathroom. It wasn't human. It wore a human face, like a stretched out mask. The skin was pale, wet, and wrong, like it had been sewn on with shaking hands. Its eyes glowed yellow, and its mouth didn't open to speak. It peeled back, like 4 separate seams splitting down the middle, exposing something underneath that was just endless static, like TV snow, except alive. Then it said, "You are signal. Now you will transmit." I blacked out. When I woke up, my apartment was pristine. My laptop was gone. My phone had reset to factory settings. Not a single trace of LUN 374 remained, except one thing, my left eye. The white is no longer white. It's gray, dull, like the color of ash under a microscope. It doesn't move when my other eye moves. It just stares forward, unblinking. I tried covering it with a contact lens. It burned through it. And sometimes, when I stare in the mirror too long, I swear I see the moon inside it, spinning, watching. I haven't left my apartment in 3 days. I don't know what's real anymore. My reflection moves a second too late. My microwave screen shows different times than the oven. My Snapchat camera glitches into inverted colors when I point it at my own face. Instagram won't let me post selfies. The caption autofills as, "You are being watched." I don't sleep. I don't eat. And every night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the breathing starts again. Slow, mechanical, like a space helmet. The moon is watching. If you have headphones, check your phone mic. If you hear static when your phone is idle, it's too late. You ever see something so unnatural, your brain rejects it, like it physically won't let you believe what your eyes are showing you? That's what happened when I found a USB drive in my mouth. Yes, in my mouth. I woke up 2 days after the last blackout, with blood on my sheets and my teeth aching like I'd chewed through concrete. I stumbled to the mirror and found the metallic edge of a USB drive wedged between my molars, halfway embedded into the roof of my mouth like it had grown there. I pulled it out. It was warm, wet, etched into the side in tiny, almost surgical writing with the numbers 2074A. I didn't plug it in. I'm not stupid. Not after what happened with the first file. I mailed it to a P.O. box I rented years ago under a fake name, and I locked the key in a safety deposit box. I had no idea what else to do, but the signal followed me anyway. Let me rewind. You need to understand the decay that started happening around me. It didn't just stop at whispers or shadows anymore. It bled into my life, into the very architecture of reality. First, it was little things. My TikTok feed became static. Instagram captions started rewriting themselves. All my YouTube recommendations turned to low-resolution videos of the moon, just sitting there, unmoving, dead silent. Different angles, different filters, always the same description. She's not a rock, she's a mirror. No views, no likes, no comments, nothing. The upload dates were impossible. June 13th, 1969, January 4th, 1975, October 31st, 2032. Dates that didn't make sense. My Uber driver tried to speak to me on the way to Walgreens and said something that almost made me claw my ears off. They record you through your reflection. That's how they learn your shape. I said, "What?" He blinked, then acted like I hadn't spoken, dropped me off, drove away without even charging me. When I stepped inside Walgreens, every mirror was gone, replaced by black glass, and every single employee wore dark visors over their eyes, like riot police, but smiling. Plastic, corporate smiles that didn't shift, didn't fade. One of them tilted her head way too far and said, "No reflection, no interference. The moon is listening." I ran out. That night, something worse happened. I got a FaceTime call at 3:33 a.m. No caller ID. I answered. I don't know why. I shouldn't have. The screen showed static at first. Then someone came into view. At least. Something wearing someone. It looked like Max, my friend, the one who died listening to the file. But it wasn't him. The eyes were backwards. That's the only way I can describe it. Like someone had scooped them out and reinserted them, flipped. The whites were where the pupils should be. The pupils were pitch black and swirled like whirlpools. And his voice, it wasn't his voice. It was my voice, pitched down, glitching in and out. You are the signal. You are the host. You are the channel. Then the screen flipped, upside down. I saw my apartment, but I wasn't holding the phone anymore. I was sitting in the corner, naked, covered in deep gray ash, head tilted at an unnatural angle, like my neck had been snapped halfway through a prayer. On my chest was carved one word, transmit. Then the screen went black. I dropped my phone. It shattered, wouldn't turn on again. But I looked in the corner. Nothing was there, until I blinked. When I opened my eyes again, there was something in the corner. Not me, but a version of me, slightly wrong. A little taller, paler, mouth wider, and eyes that didn't blink, just glowed yellow like two dying stars. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My voice was inside him. He raised one finger, pointed at the window. I live on the 19th floor, city skyline, the whole world at a glance. But there, in the distance, closer than it should have been, the moon hung low, way too low, close enough to see the surface shifting, like it was breathing, alive, watching. My alternate self in the corner whispered with my voice, "There is no more sky. There is only the dome, the lens, the gaze. And we are her reflections." The next day, I booked a flight to Norway. Yeah, I know. Random. But I remembered something from one of those conspiracy channels that used to exist before everything got purged. There's a station deep in the Arctic Circle, EISCAT, a real radio observatory that studies the ionosphere. But according to some old forums, it also intercepted a transmission in the 70s labeled Lun A, a sister recording to the one I found. The post said, if you go to the station in winter, when everything's shut down and covered in snow, you can still hear the broadcast if you stand on the roof with the shortwave radio. I needed answers. I needed to know if this thing, whatever I invited into my life, could be traced, tracked, ended. I flew out, booked a hostel in Tromsø, took a snowmobile to the EISCAT facility. Everything was abandoned, rusted, looked like a dead satellite had landed and was slowly being swallowed by snow. I climbed the main tower at dusk, hooked a basic ham radio to the steel rail, tuned it. White noise. Then, the moon is watching. My knees buckled, but it kept going. Host confirmed. Transmission stabilized. Sinking vessel. And then I heard laughter. Not human. Not even alien. It was something inside laughter. Like a million insects learning how to mimic joy, failing, and laughing at their own failure. I dropped the radio. When I turned around, I wasn't in the Arctic anymore. I was in a chamber, a cold gray dome with walls that pulsed like lungs. Dozens of people stood around me, eyes glowing yellow, heads twitching. Their faces were wrong. Some had mouths on their necks. Some had ears where eyes should be. One person had no face at all, just smooth skin with a nose poking out of the center like a grotesque sculpture. And above us, a window, not a skylight. A window on the inside of the moon. Through it, I could see Earth, tiny, blue, distant. We were on the far side, the side that never blinks, and something enormous began moving across the glass. A shadow, a shape with limbs, thin, bone-like arms, dragging its body across the moon's interior. Its head turned. It didn't have eyes. It had cameras. It looked through me. Transmission complete. I woke up in a hospital in Oslo, covered in frostbite and burns. They found me lying unconscious 10 miles from the facility, muttering the phrase, "She sees, she knows, she sings." There was no radio, no footage, but in my hand, clenched so tight it broke 3 fingers, was a rock, lunar basalt. I don't know how I got it, and I don't care, because last night I found something else. A final message burned into my apartment wall, charred into the paint. You are a lens, pointed at them, now pointed back. If you hear breathing in the static of your Bluetooth speaker, do not reply. Do not speak back, because that's how they find your mouth. That's how they crawl in. You are no longer the audience. You are the broadcast. There is a space between pixels, between light and signal, between thought and memory, where something older than God waits. I found it in a live stream, a TikTok live stream, the last place you'd ever expect hell to broadcast from. It happened 3 days after I escaped the hospital in Oslo. My body hadn't healed. My right hand was in a brace from the frostbite fractures. My left eye, the one that showed the spinning moon, had gone fully gray, and I'd stopped seeing out of it in the traditional sense. But I saw through it. Not the room, not the city. I saw into the feed, into the grid of reality where content is born and uploaded and chewed by billions of attention-hungry eyes. A digital organ that pulses every time someone screams into a ring light, every time a YouTuber fakes a ghost story, every time someone screams, "Smash that like button," with dead eyes and a smile as wide as the sky. They are all signals, and I was now one of them. The livestream came from a girl's account I didn't follow. Her username was just a set of coordinates, 18.65 degrees north, 226.2 degrees east. Go ahead, look it up. It's the moon. Mare Imbrium. The sea of rains. She was streaming in complete darkness. The only light was the glow from her phone, illuminating her face in a pale, sterile white. She didn't speak, just stared into the camera with a smile that never moved. I watched for 5 straight minutes. Thousands of people were in the chat, but no one said anything. Not a single comment, not a single emoji, just silence. And then, the smile cracked. Her lips tore open sideways, not like a normal smile. It was as if her skin split outward, like paper catching fire, and the corners of her mouth peeled back into her cheeks. Blood dripped, thick and black. But she didn't stop smiling. She tilted her head, and behind her, in the darkness, a shape leaned forward. It wasn't human. It didn't pretend to be. It looked like a camera lens mounted on a spinal cord. No face, no features, just a spinning aperture, clicking open and shut. I couldn't see the whole thing, just enough to make my organs seize. The girl whispered, "This is how we watch you watching us." Then the comments exploded, not in words, not emojis, just coordinates. Long, endless strings of latitude and longitude, scrolling by like a doomsday ticker. And then, in all caps, repeating every 0.4 seconds, "You have been selected to transmit. You have been selected to transmit. You have been selected to transmit." I dropped my phone. It vibrated once, and when I picked it up, my camera was already open, recording, facing me. The next 48 hours blurred. I don't remember sleeping. I don't remember blinking. I do remember the smell of burnt electronics. I remember my fridge moaning. I remember my microwave counting backward in lunar time. 13.66, 12:00, 11:34, 10.94. I remember the sound of a baby monitor screaming from under my bed. I don't own a baby monitor, but I found it, wedged between the floorboards. No power, still warm, still whispering, "Your skull is an antenna. Let us in." I went outside, thinking maybe, just maybe, if I escaped the apartment, I could disrupt the signal. I ran to the nearest McDonald's. Bright lights, people, noise. I thought corporate hell would drown them out. But when I walked in, the TVs weren't playing ads. They were playing me. Not a camera feed, not a live video, just my reflection, sitting in my room, looking at the camera, not blinking. One of the employees, a teenage girl, looked at me, eyes wide, and said, "You were here last week." I wasn't. She pulled out her phone, showed me her TikTok, a video from 7 days ago. I was in the background, behind the counter, wearing my hoodie, standing perfectly still, watching her. I do not remember this. She hit play. As the video played, I looked up at the phone in the footage and smiled, the same way the girl from the stream smiled, skin splitting, teeth exposed, eyes white. The sound in the background wasn't music. It was the phrase, again, warped and reversed. "Nikausi nom, et. The moon is watching." After that, I stopped running, because running doesn't matter when they're already inside you. I started hearing voices behind YouTube thumbnails. I saw moving lips in the Spotify waveform. On Twitter, my drafts folder filled itself with sentences I never wrote. "You are the vessel. There are eyes behind your mirror. The feed is a prayer. You are the Amen." Even worse, my followers started disappearing. Not the numbers. Those stayed the same. But the people behind them were gone. I checked their profiles. All the photos blurred. All posts gone. Bio changed to a single character. Bullet. I messaged one of them. A guy I knew from high school. Just a normal dude who posted memes and gym pics. His reply came instantly. "I don't remember who I was before the signal. Do you? We were all eyes once. Now we are the lens." It wasn't a metaphor, not art, not an ARG. I finally saw what it was when I woke up 2 nights ago, naked, in a white room, with 3 mirrors on each wall. All of them showed a different version of me. One was covered in bruises. One was smiling so hard his gums bled. One had no eyes, just open sockets full of twitching worms made from static. Each one whispered at the same time, same cadence, same tone. "You are the broadcast. You are the broadcast. You are the broadcast," I screamed. I punched the mirror. It didn't break. It screamed back. The glass twisted into a mouth, a long, narrow grin that opened and bit my fist. I pulled back. Blood sprayed across the room in perfect satellite signal lines, concentric rings. From the ceiling, a voice echoed, but not a human voice. A NASA signal, transmission voice, robotic, hollow, the kind you hear on launch recordings. Command signal received. Vessel has synchronized. Initiating event phase. Then silence. Not silence. Like nothing. Silence like a world without vibration. Like the concept of sound had been turned off. I passed out. When I woke up, I was back in my room. But the room had changed. No reflections, no shadows. Every surface now absorbed light like obsidian. And my body, I had surgical scars, dozens of them. Thin, precise incisions around my ears, my spine, my chest. My voice was hoarse, even though I hadn't screamed. I coughed once, and static came out. Last night, I streamed for the first time. Not on purpose. My phone turned on by itself. The front camera activated. The screen said, "Live, 12,944. Watching. I saw myself. I tried to close the app. It didn't close. I ripped the battery out. The stream kept going. I watched myself from my iPad. My stream had no username, no comments, no timer. Just a pulsing red word across the top. Transmission. Active. And then the chat box filled with one phrase. She sees through you. She sees through you. She sees through you. But be warned, you've read too far. And once the moon knows your name, she never stops watching. And now your reflection isn't just yours anymore. Check it. Go ahead. Notice anything. Off. It's hard to know when the end begins. Some people think death starts with the last heartbeat. Others think it's when your brain shuts off, when the blood stops whispering secrets to your neurons. But I think the end begins the moment you hear your own voice from the outside of your body, and it's not saying anything you've ever said. It's been 7 days since I streamed. I haven't eaten, haven't slept. My eye, the one that turned gray, doesn't blink anymore. It doesn't need to. It doesn't belong to me now. It blinks when the moon blinks. The stream hasn't ended. It doesn't matter if my phone is off, or broken, or inside a bag of rice, inside a lead-lined box, inside a closet that I duct taped shut. The stream is still active. I caught it playing at a gas station in Arizona. A little flat-screen TV above the register. Me, sitting on my bed, just breathing, but my chest wasn't moving, my mouth wasn't open, and my eyes, gone. Not gouged, not bloody, just not there. Smooth skin grown over them, like clay molded too far. And yet, the stream watched through them. The cashier stared at me, without blinking, for 15 full seconds. Then leaned over the counter and whispered, "She's going to wear your skin at dawn." It's not madness, it's infection, not like a virus, not even spiritual. This thing, the moon, the voice, the entity, it doesn't crawl inside you, it doesn't consume you, it replaces you, slowly, piece by piece. I looked in the mirror yesterday and smiled, but I didn't mean to smile. It just happened. And behind the smile, my gums looked wrong. Too red, too wide, like they were stretching to fit something else. My reflection started grinning before I did. That was the moment I knew I didn't have long left. I tried to delete everything, every trace of the file, every backup, every shadow, every mention of LUN-374. I burned my old hard drives in a forest outside Colorado Springs, sat there for hours watching the plastic bubble and Spitfire. I thought maybe the screams I heard coming from the smoke were just in my head. They weren't. My phone buzzed in my pocket, even though it was dead. A message appeared on the cracked screen. You are the seed. The moon is germinating. That night, I had a dream. Only it wasn't a dream. I felt my organs stop while I was still awake. I was floating, weightless, naked in orbit, around something that wasn't the moon, not anymore. It had grown, expanded, cracked open like an egg, revealing the city inside. There were towers made of veins, satellite dishes shaped like human ribs, a sky of blackened teeth, orbiting like asteroids. And from the center of it all came a sound that wasn't a scream and wasn't a word. It was something in between, something beyond language, beyond comprehension, that forced my skin to ripple away like it was made of smoke. That sound translated directly into pain, and it said, "Welcome back." I don't know what I am anymore. I think I've been replaced. Or maybe I never existed the way I thought I did. Maybe I was always a reflection, just a vessel waiting to be activated, a satellite built of skin and regret. My voice has changed. It vibrates when I speak now. I hear two tones layered on top of each other, mine and something deeper, a sub-frequency that shakes glasses in my cabinet even when I whisper. I posted on an old Reddit thread yesterday, just to see if I could still pass for human. Someone replied, "You've been dead for 4 years. I watched your stream. I saw them unzip you." I didn't reply, because the truth is, they did unzip me. I remember lying on my bed, hearing the static crawl up from my mattress, like insects whispering beneath the sheets. I remember my skin opening from my navel up to my chin. I didn't bleed. There were no organs inside, only wire. And that's when I knew I was never the receiver. I was the transmitter. I live underground now, literally, in an abandoned Cold War bunker deep beneath the Rockies. I found it using coordinates that appeared on the backs of my eyelids during one of the blackouts. I clawed them into the drywall with my teeth while I was unconscious. When I came to, they were glowing faintly. The air here smells like copper and grief, but the signal is weaker. Sometimes I don't hear the static, but other times, when it's quiet enough, I hear them broadcasting through the bones of the mountain, knocking. 1 knock for yes, 2 knocks for we see you, 3 knocks for we are almost ready. Last night, my live stream hit 7 billion viewers. I didn't start it. I didn't even know it was happening, but I checked. My face is now the default wallpaper on at least 5 Android phones I've seen in public. My stream plays in airports, in dentist offices, on bus stop screens when no one's watching. I saw it projected on the side of a building in downtown Tokyo. Me, sitting in the dark, mouth open, eyes gray, screaming without sound. I tried to kill myself. This morning, I did everything. Pills, knife, hose in the generator room. Nothing worked. My body won't let me die anymore. I swallowed enough sleeping pills to knock out an elephant, and all that happened was my pupils dilated into full black discs. And when I looked into the mirror again, the reflection finally spoke. You don't get to die. You're broadcasting the birth. Because that's what this is, right? Not a haunting, not a possession, not even a signal. It's a birth stream. The moon isn't just watching, she's crowning. And we are her contractions, some final truths before I lose full control. The LUN-374 audio isn't a recording, it's a summoning protocol. NASA didn't delete it, they buried it. The moon is not a satellite. She's an egg, and we are the yolk. I can feel her moving now, inside my spine, stretching my jaw wider every hour, rearranging my bones into something more antenna than man. My fingernails have turned to translucent glass. My skin is flaking off in perfect geometric patterns, like circuitry. My teeth are loose. My tongue is hardening. Soon, I'll speak in full signal, and the first words out of my mouth will not be mine. So here it is, the final broadcast. This is the last thing I'll ever write as me. Do not go looking for the file. Do not search the coordinates. Do not stream the moon. She is already watching, and once she sees you, she will never unsee you, but the stream never ends. Check your camera. Did you blink? Or did your reflection do it first?